you cut me too deep. I think I'm dying here, man.
Welcome to the 3B Video Deep Cut Podcast.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun.
Aw, yeah. It's that time again for another bi-weekly podcast with your hosts, Rotten Roger DeMarco and...
I died during this adventure, but this is evil. Evil clearly dead now, Inks.
Evil Clearly Dead Inks. And this episode is a special little ditty. We've already discussed our film project and what we were going to be doing. We figured our triumphant return to podcast land would be just an hour talking about some of the things that happened during the production. There's still more shooting to be done, but we'll try and keep this relatively spoiler-free, I guess. But just kind of talk about some of the shit that we went through working on TapeHead.
Yeah, because you started filming over a month ago with bits and stuff around your domicile there, but there was the 4 main days of shooting where it was balls out, the entire cast and crew all there for everything. And yeah, you'll go back to doing like the pickups and little things in between, but man, yeah, these 4 days of productions include, I mean, everything happened in this. We had
Yes.
gawkers.
Go ahead, start listing.
We had gawkers. We had a small town where everybody showed up to see what we were doing. We had yokels asking if they could be in our movie. We had drunks throwing beer bottles at us. We had a police pullover incident. We even had an incident with a goddamn UFO.
That's true. All of these things actually happened. And, we had kind of talked about, are we saving this for the commentary? What are we doing? And
we'll go in depth more in the commentary. This is the condensed.
Yes.
Right after, we're literally like a week and change post, like the big filming days. So it's like, we'll just record like an hour of just, wow, that was fun, exhausting, a pain in the ass, but an absolute blast at the same time.
There's so much crammed in those 4 days that they just disappeared, to be honest with you. So to start it off, VHS Mikey, our good buddy, Michael Edstrom, came all the way from Oklahoma, flew in and spent a week with me, and that way he was here ready for the shooting, and we could set dress, we could do all these things before Evil and his wife arrived. So
leave all the difficult work up to you guys, because you had just a short window of time to clear out an entire building that was essentially a hoarder's paradise.
Oh my god, yeah, and the spiders in there bite your head off, man. Let me tell you.
I know. I saw one inside one of my hats.
But that was the other thing too. Yeah, before Mikey arrived, we finally got the keys to the building, because we were supposed to get access to our video barn location a month and some change ahead of shooting. Turns out we got it like 6 days ahead of shooting. And
close enough.
The time that I went and scouted the location, it was filled with like semi tires, tractor tires, all these tires. And so the people who owned the building said, when it's time for you to shoot, we'll have all these out of there. No problem, right? So a week before shooting, I go, and they're like, all the tires are gone. Sure, that's true, but now there's a couch, there's a chair, there's a stove, there's snow blowers and fucking bicycles and church pews, like the most random shit you've ever seen in your life filled this building.
All things I think we could have just used. You could have just left all that stuff there, and we could have just used all that for production. But no, you cleared out a good majority of that stuff, and it literally only stayed in maybe like 2 of the back rooms, which included a giant, like 20-foot tractor, which periodically got started and moved. With there's only two walls of separation. Yeah, during filming, a dude's gonna start up a straight up like Green Acres style tractor and just back it out of the building and then back it back in again.
Boop, boop. Oh my god, yeah. So we get the location cleaned out. We get a bunch of custom posters done. We hang up a bunch of old water damage posters and stuff that I had. Take all of our prop VHS stuff in there. All of our essential movie stuff. We start setting up the back room for the green room. Put a fridge in there. All the food, all the drinks, makeup area. All of these things, trying really hard to make it as professional as humanly possible. But this building has amazing air conditioning. The air conditioning in this building was fucking top-notch, phenomenal. But there are no vents in the green room. So the green room was muggy, miserable. And what was the high? Do you remember the high temperature when we were shooting? Had to have been over 100 degrees.
The last official number that I remember looking at, because I remember saying it to you, I was like, oh goody, it's only going to be 95 tomorrow when we're shooting. Are we going to try to get those outdoor shots again? Because that was the first thing we tried to do, was shoot outdoor footage out in front of the faux video store, to which we found out this town / road with a population of 60 people, maybe.
I wouldn't even say 60. I would say closer to 20.
Well,
so
I
maybe
think,
like 23, 25.
Okay, well, I think we saw everyone at least 3 times then during that hour and a half we were trying to film out in the hot sun. Just us, like a few bits of dialogue and walking into a store. But 18-wheelers, tractor trailers, 3 Jeeps, back and forth. It was essentially the brutal massacre
Motorcycle
scene.
gang. There was a motorcycle gang.
Yes, because we were also shooting across, because Raj was wanting to take care of us. He's like, perfect. This street / town has 2 restaurants. One is a bar and grill. And of course that bar is filled with the like 4 badass hardcore country bikers of the area.
The rough and tumble.
Yeah.
They hold down the bar.
The country street toughs who haven't seen sunlight in at least 15 years. Because the one time we did go in there looking for food, we opened that door, and it's the first time I think light has shown into that building in at least a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think the little dude from Lord of the Rings was in there. Shut it off!
Yeah, let's be honest, you know, which we're gonna get into a lot of the stuff about making this movie, but we were probably the biggest thing that town had seen in a very long time. Like Evil said, there was a lot of rubbernecking, a lot of what's happening, a lot of I mean, seriously, people just stopping in the middle of the road right next to us, boom mic going, trying to do dialogue, got fucking we've got backdrops up to block the sun. We got all this shit going on, and people just stopping.
Yeah,
and watching us. But
3 open top Jeeps of people, and of course we get the classic line: "Y'all making a movie? Can we be in your movie?"
No, you cannot. Go inside the bar. But that's, we were not necessarily welcomed to this small town, which I'm from a small town. Evil's from a relatively smaller town. So these are my people. You know what I mean? I was expecting not the amount of blowback, I guess, as much as we had anyway, because that's the most interesting thing, or one of the most interesting things that happened. Like Evil said, we walk into this bar, and it's literally like something out of a movie. Like, I believe you described it as like being able to hear the record skip.
Yeah, there's a good 8 of us that walked into this bar looking just to get something to eat, and there was no legitimate record skip on a jukebox, but we all internally heard that in our own minds as soon as we walked into this place, because I mean, we are very much outside of the demographic that's coming in. Like, it's sleeveless shirts, that farmer's tan,
Big old
all along that kind of
Dixon
mind.
shawl.
Yes, tobacco chewing, got a chicken farm type folk, and then we're very much more progressive, tattooed artists.
And we also looked like fucking cartoon characters, let me say, because we're all dressed in our movie attire, which is not far from how we dress in real life, but we did kind of crank it up to 11.
Yeah, which that's the debate when we were filming later in the evening. One of the nights outside is we're dealing with a scene with two faux prostitutes outside of the video store, and I was at least jokingly referencing, do you think they're rubbernecking looking at the hookers outside by the post office, or they're just scoping out my super cool Zubaz pants?
It was definitely the pants, but we did have someone almost wreck because they were staring at our hookers so hard, which is, I suppose, a compliment, you know?
Yes,
we had some top-notch street hookers.
Good work, ladies. If you get the chance to listen to this, yeah, you almost caused a multiple-car pileup.
Yeah, all 28 cars of this town or whatever. So yeah, we walk into this bar, and they let us completely come in. All of us figure out our seating arrangement at this giant table, and the lady comes up.
Because of course the table only fits 6 people, and we got 8 people, so we got to figure out how to move another table into that. They watch us do all this stuff, and as soon as you get that sit down and you go, all right, where's the menu? Then she hits us with this.
We ain't got no food here. or it was something along those lines.
We don't serve food till 4 o'clock. I was like, straight up, like,
it was like noon.
Yeah, I straight up had the suicide moment going, I ain't sitting here 2 fucking hours.
So, yeah, and that's the other thing. So, previously on Making Your Own Movie in a Small Town, before we decided to go into said bar and grill, 2 doors down, not to be confused with 3 doors down, 2 doors down from where we're filming, there is a cafe. And it was supposed to be having like a fish fry. It's a nice sit down. And the food there is delicious. I've eaten there multiple times. So I'm thinking,
allegedly.
We'll go to this.
I've never seen it.
I've been there. I'll send you some pictures, man. But I think, maybe it's because my wife is originally from that town. They just let me in and fed me. But so we go to this cafe, and the door is like bolted shut. So we're like, well, I guess we're going across the street.
The whole store down with the flu. The whole store got the flu. So I had to buy this in a secondhand store.
Another My Cousin Vinny reference.
Yeah.
Deep cut.
I actually think weren't they closed like the entire weekend just like to cater a wedding that was going on around or something? That might
have been it. They had a sign on the door. I didn't. Yeah. I think I looked at it once, but I was so irritated because, again, folks, if you're listening and you're thinking really hard about making your own movie, I will tell you yet again, anything that can go wrong will go wrong and will go wrong multiple times.
In places you expect it, and a lot of places you will not. And of course,
exactly.
The entire time any one of these things happens, which it happened all the time, Rod just trying to put his best face forward on it, but I can see he's annoyed, and the best way I could keep him on from not jumping off the top of that building was going, at least this will make for a very fucking killer commentary track when we get to that section of this journey, because we will not talk about probably fuck all about the movie. It's just the experience that we had trying to film this part.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, and so, things that I thought I for sure had a handle on. I'm like, yeah, 2 restaurants within walking distance. And I mean, walking distance is fucking putting it fucking lightly. I mean, it's like open the door and you're at...
It's 30 seconds either direction you go.
So I was like, man, I'm taking care of everybody. Both restaurants said fuck you. So closest food was another town away, 6 to 8 miles away. And then let's top it off with the small town we're shooting in, I swear to God, they don't even know internet exists. So people who are on the cast and crew who I don't have their official phone numbers, if I'm just using Facebook Messenger, I'm cut off from the world. I cannot use internet, I can't use Snapchat, I can't use anything to contact or, relay any information to anyone not at the location.
It's a blackout
really
zone.
Hindered us.
There was no service on anything, which was terrifying for at least a couple of us. Because at one point the wife and I were like, we're gonna duck out right before everyone else does that lives here and head back to Roger's place for the evening. We're gonna stop by the gas station in town before we head there. We don't know how to maneuver around this town, and it's not like it's a town where you can use visual aids at damn near midnight, because it's 99% country and just hills. So at night, it's as black and abyss looking as your internet service and cell services. So one wrong turn, we're driving for at least like 10 minutes, and I'm pretty sure we took a wrong turn. We definitely took a wrong turn. So flip that shit around and go back. Get a message from Roger, where are you guys at? We're busy getting pulled over because we were speeding coming back because we were tired of being out on the road past midnight, and the wife was so getting frustrated. She's like, I'm not spending the night in this car. I was like, I don't think it'll get that bad. I was like, I'm pretty sure we'll find our way back. It's a 50-50 and we just took the wrong 50%.
Right? You can either go right or left, and you guys went left, and right gets you home. So yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing that you just don't expect is a random ticket, and because if you're bringing talent from outside of the state who aren't used to the state you're shooting in's laws, whether that's the speed or the having your license and registration and all of these extra tidbits, because some states don't do that. So of course, Evil and his wife get a ticket. That's the big
discrepancy. Is we were speeding a little bit, but it was the big no-no apparently was where we're from. They always want your license and proof of insurance. They don't want you to carry your registration on hand. But apparently, when we shoot in small town USA, they want the traditional license and registration. And as soon as I heard registration, I was like, we're fucked. Yep. I'd be like, just karate chop him and take off. Just give him the old Dave Chappelle.
Yep. So that was one of the things. It was an unexpected expense, because there's no way, as a director, which I'm air quoting for the people who are just listening, because I've never done this before. But there was no way in hell.
But it felt like you had been doing it for at least 3 years. I will say that. Between how you were I was just watching you when you were talking with people, and how you wanted particular shots and how you were setting up shots with the misses, and with how you had everything set up like green room and then tape markered off for people's foot placements and stuff. I'd be like, it's like this dude has been doing this for at least a few years. I would say it's a first timer that feels like he's been doing it for at least 3 years.
Because I was terrified, but that was just one of those things where there's no way in hell I was gonna not foot the bill for you guys getting a ticket, and which, if you are planning to make your own movie, you need to think of these things. You need to, if you're gonna feed your cast and crew, you're gonna put them up for lodging, whether that means a hotel or whatever that means, or letting them stay with you if you're just gonna have a giant slumber party. But any expense that they require, that's on you. And if you don't do that, I feel like that's really that's just shitty. That's just like an amateur dickhead thing to do. So it was like, no way are you ever paying for a soda? Are you paying for anything that food-wise that you put in your mouth, gas, whatever? I've got it. All you got to do is say, hey man, I need this, and you got it. So I'm not a professional. I was just making it up as I went along.
It still seemed like it was very much like he thought of every potential thing you could logistically think of, and anything that came up that you couldn't, we found a way to work around it. Which the other big unexpected thing that happened to me, at least, is I choreographed a fight sequence in the movie because I'm a fucking wrestling freak. I wanted to choreograph a wrestling match, so I have a wrestling scene where I get put into a side headlock. Now, I practiced doing it with our boy Snarls like 4 or 5 times before we even got to where we were setting up lights and shit for the shot, and then like another 4 or 5 times just like rehearsing it right before we would
just
film.
Making sure you
yeah,
knew
we had the routine
steps.
and everything down. So we get to one of the shots where we're filming it. I take my fucking ski cap off. I'm ready to go down. I go into the side headlock. Bam! Side of my glasses on the earpiece side snaps right off, just because of the weight against the arm. Because of course Snarls has an arm that could rip off a head off a bowling ball and roll it down the street. And my glasses weren't really high dollar. They were kind of they're inexpensively made, I'll say. So
there
just
not cheap. They're inexpensive.
Yeah, just on one of those headlocks, just pop, there it went. I was like, hold up. I was like, my glasses just broke. And that's more, it's like, how am I gonna explain this to the wife? She's gonna be pissed. These aren't even a year old yet, technically. So we couldn't, even if there was like an eye center within 40 miles.
Oh my god, yeah. There was nothing. You just take it down to Earl on the corner and he'll tighten them up real quick.
Yeah, luckily our makeup effects gal / prostitute number 2. She was number 2.
She's the number one prostitute.
She is number 1. Always number 1 in our hearts. She was able to jimmy rig my side piece to stay on. But she also, I didn't know they were her legit like seeing glasses. She donated her glasses for me to wear during a couple of the shots while she was trying to maneuver mine back to a functionable status. But luckily I was able to get, I was super like, man, about that. I was able, luckily because I've got a little bit of my dad's qualities in me, I kept the exact same pair I bought previously, which is the same make, model, everything, sitting on my sink. So once I got home, I was able to just pop an old earpiece on a new pair of glasses. But being in the middle of nowhere, we had to think super on our feet with rubber bands and glue to try to keep these things together, because I still had several things left to do, and I needed those to see first and foremost. But and right behind that is like, well, we already shot that. I'm wearing glasses to everything else, so we have to keep continuity there. They're like, why does he not have glasses all of a sudden? It's super noticeable when I'm not wearing these damn things.
Yeah, so thankfully, like you said, we had people with us, our effects crew and everyone else, really good at just thinking on our feet. And if a problem came up, there was a handful of people who were like, what about this? What about this? What about this? You know, and our crew was very small. I think top to bottom 11 people.
That's still a lot for
a lot of personalities to make sure are happy. And
it's a lot of people to juggle. So I was like, yeah, it's a small film crew, but like if I was in your shoes, it's like that's still 11 people I gotta juggle, like with jobs and trying to do this and that and everything else. So it's
well, oh, go ahead.
I was like, but it's small, but it's still a lot for us to handle, or for you to handle.
Damn right it is, because we're used to it just being you and I when it comes to the YouTube content. So, I mean, you don't even have a cameraman. You're using, you have a camera.
I occasionally have a camera woman. Occasionally.
Right. And, my wife shoots all of my YouTube video stuff, but for the most part, the creative aspect comes from you and I working together and deciding what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And this was like you said, it's a lot of people to juggle. It's a lot of stuff to make sure everybody is just feeling it, and no one is like ready to bail and be like, fuck this, fuck you, fuck everybody. And the one thing that I gotta talk about is our man Dylan, who aka Snarls,
the trooper,
plays our villain. Yeah, absolute trooper. I think I told you he lost 13 pounds over those 4 days playing our villain.
That's all water weight.
Yeah, because of the silicone mask that he had to wear. And like Evil was saying, 95, I think, was the low of the one day. We're like, it's only going to be 95.
Minimal clouds, too, so just sun beating down on you the whole time.
And so, luckily, since we decided to go with a silicone mask as opposed to multiple prosthetics being glued to his face, if he ever was overheated or, needed to eat or whatever, that could be pulled off and he could recover.
Which he still didn't even do all the time. Like, there was times where he was in the green room with everything on, and he's like, can you just get me a straw? I'll just put a straw in my Red Bull here and drink it through the mask. And I'm like, okay. You could take that shit off, crazy. Because it's... Yeah. I've seen it several times. I've known about it, the mask and everything, for months. I've just been able to see it, but that shoot was the first time I actually picked it up, because it's a head and shoulders and part of your chest and back. Like, and I put my fist through it so I could hold it up on my arm, and it's like, this fucker weighs like 8-10 pounds. Like, this is no joke silicone.
Yeah, super heavy, and he handled it like a pro. And again, with the happy accidents, which is one of the things that you just learn to embrace. And one of the best things that came out of this movie was a beautiful happy accident, but it was because Dylan was dying. It was him putting you in a headlock. Yeah, he puts Evil in a headlock, and the camera is very low. So we're like, why don't you turn your head and like growl and look at the camera? Well, when he would open his mouth, all the sweat from inside of this thing literally geysered out of his mouth. I thought he was drooling. I was like, keep up you're drooling on command, that's amazing. And he's like, it's sweat. And he was upset because he thought he was ruining the shot, and in fact, he was making the shot cooler than it ever, could have been, with fucking bodily fluids.
Bodily fluids make everything much better for film. That's personally one of the things I really cannot wait to see, how you edit all the bits together. Because all I can remember is one being like a cocktail, partially being annoyed. I broke my fucking glasses trying to do these shots with another person's glasses on and not trying to wreck those, but still make it look kind of like they were mine. And like all I hear is going over and over doing the maneuvers for different angles and stuff. I just hear Raj, just hear him just, this is awesome. Oh, that looks cool. Just all these like. So I'm like, well, at least he's happy. Like he's making very happy noises of what he's seeing. So at least we got that going. I have no idea what it's going to end up looking like at the end. I just know at least it sounded good from the director's perspective when it was getting filmed.
Oh, it was glorious, dude. And that's the other thing too. Like, I just kind of talked about, you got to make sure everybody is feeling good and everybody's mood is up. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how well prepared you think you are, or how much of a positive person you are. When you get into like the 16th, the 17th hour of shooting, and you've only been eating fucking chocolate granola bars because everything is fucking closed around you, and it's hot as shit.
Yeah, you've not had a steady meal. It's all snack food and things.
Yeah, it's all bullshit sugar. And you're hot, you're miserable, you're moving around lights, you're spraying fog in everyone's faces, and
you're
you
tired.
Can't really breathe, and
tired also because you haven't slept well, even when you're able to turn your brain off from being in film mode.
And like I said, no matter how good natured you are, you're gonna have a moment where you're like, fuck this, and I think we all individually had one. I actually had to take a step outside at one point and just be like, okay, I'm gonna get this done.
Ooh, son.
Not worried. Yeah. Thankfully, the day that I had my breakdown, it was really overcast, and it was like 73 some degrees
The
outside. It felt
one
like
moment it was actually breezy outside, I was like, it's actually nicer outside than it was inside for one moment.
it was glorious. It was like the film gods were like, all right, buddy,
Take a break.
take a little breather. But yeah, again, with the anything that can go wrong will go wrong aspect, our tech guy, Mr. Remix himself, we put him in charge of doing sound, so he's our sound guy. He is very familiar with our sound equipment. We made sure, I kind of put him through a boot camp. We did all this stuff to make sure everything was going to work, and there was going to be no problems with running the sound equipment. And wouldn't you know it, the very first shot of our 4-day shoot, he drops the sound recorder on concrete. And it was one of those things where it was like, well, if this breaks, we're fucked, I mean, what do? You lose a whole day because you have to go to, you have to drive 100 miles to buy something new. So, again, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Stuff that you rehearsed and practiced, and Evil's glasses breaking, the sound recorder falling on the ground, all things that shouldn't happen but do happen, and you damn well better be able to think on your feet.
Then we had the supernatural aspect of the shoot, because we found out we were filming in a old veterinary clinic, and the dude who was the owner operator of this animal hospital apparently died in the building, in the main room of where we're filming, which was interesting because anytime we had some lights set up in that spot, we had several lights that just either would shut off or would show they had no battery when they'd been charging for a long time, or that spot where we did put the task cam down and Remix kept getting interference on the task cam while he's trying to listen to stuff, just in that particular spot where dude had apparently keeled over. So we have supernatural forces slightly working against us in places too, by shutting equipment off, draining it of power, fucking with the audio, taking my hat and moving it from the green room to the bathroom. At one point, like, we just had some supernatural forces going on. And then you had, that I wasn't there for, you guys had the UFO experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and before the UFO, let me get back into this supernatural aspect, because so the Wednesday before Evil and his wife arrived, Mikey was here, and we're doing little pickup shots. We've got little things we need to shoot. Well, we set up in the evening, and we're shooting this one scene, and my wife goes, you know what would make this better? Fog. Because fog makes everything better, right? So I said, well, the fog machine is over in that town, in that building. But I can run and go get it, but someone's got to go with me. Because earlier in that Wednesday, my wife's mom just nonchalantly mentions, oh yeah, that guy died in that building. Well, anybody who follows Evil and I know, last year we did a We Want to Believe month, and we're pretty up on paranormal activity and aliens and all of these things. I truly believe in these things. So I'm kind of a tough guy, but at the same time, I immediately pitched up. When it's time to go over to that building, I said, well, someone has to come with me, because it's like 11:30 at night, and I don't want to go in that building by myself. So Mikey says, yeah, I'll ride with you. So we drive over to this building, and when we pull up, there's always like a curtain that hangs on the front door, because it's a big glass door, and they have a big curtain so people can't see in. That curtain was on the ground and sprawled out like 6 feet back. Like, it didn't just fall and land in the shape of the curtain. Like, it's like someone took it down and stretched it out. So as soon as I walked up to the door, I went, I'm not going in there. And I immediately got goosebumps. And Mikey at that time had only known me officially for 2 days. So he's like, you're scared? I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking scared. I'm like, look at my arm, I got goosebumps. He's like, well, now I'm scared. So we had to we flipped the lights on, and I'm not even kidding, run through, because the fog machine was in the green room. So I flipped the lights on, and I'm like, ah, yeah!
You look like Nick Swartzen in the bench warmers trying to get cookies off the porch, and he's afraid of the sun.
Dude, 100%. I was terrified. So we snatched that fog machine, locked the door, get our asses back, and we shoot the scene. But as far as the UFO thing goes, I'm trying to remember what day that was. Because
while you're thinking of that, a little bit extra I'll sprinkle onto that as you're telling me all this story, like the end of our first day of filming in this place, and as we're all shut down, all the lights are off, and we're all leaving. It's you, me, and Mikey still inside the building. I was like, well, we gotta walk. You and me gotta walk all the way to the end of this building in the dark, and then walk our way back. I was like, I'll have my phone out. I'll turn my phone flashlight on so we can see, so we're not stepping on anything. But we're gonna walk to the back and then walk out front, just because it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. So we start walking to the back, and Mikey's like, I'm gonna go take a piss in the bathroom real quick, and I'm gonna head outside. I was like, I'll see you guys out there. I'm like, okay. So we go all the way to the back of the building. I'm like, all right, lights are out. All right, let's start our stroll back. Get through the first room, into the middle room. All of a sudden, Mikey's then went to the bathroom, went to the other side of the room where we can't see him around the corner, and you just see between my flashlight and the wall this fucking shadow of this huge thing with arms coming at you. And I get to this feel, Rod just almost leap out of his shoes and take off out the door. You're like, what the fuck is that? It's Mikey being the practical joker. So I was like, don't worry, if anything does happen, it's going to kill him first. Because the scared guy will live. The guy that wants to just experiment and see what's going on will at least die second to last. Practical joker, his ass is gone first.
Yeah. Comic relief gets smoked. And that may or may not be, reflective of our very own film. But who knows? Maybe we did that on purpose.
But yeah, the UFO thing is something that just you, your wife, and Remix experienced. And Remix did research post into it to see if there were...
While it was happening, yeah, he's checking flight logs, because that's the kind of geek that he is. He's like, let me pull up flight logs. He's like, nothing is flying by us. And it was crazy, because we're driving towards the town, and we're going 60. Cruise is set. We see these lights in front of us. Low lights. That's not normal. Planes don't fly that low. But it was coming at us at a high rate of speed, matching our speed, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it just went the opposite direction. It went away from us so fast, it just disappeared. And we're like, what the fuck was that? So that's what he pulls up the flight logs. He's like, nothing is anywhere near us. Nowhere near us. Hundreds of miles from us. There's nothing flying right now. So what the fuck was that? That shit was a UFO.
And on top of it, clearly, because you can't identify it. It is technically a UFO, but you're also, there's nothing around here. There's not, any houses or people, walking. There's nothing. There's just nothing. It's Road Warrior the movie. There's just nothing for 100 miles in this direction to get gas. There's just nothing there. So it's not like there's a dude with a drone out flying that shit around or anything. There's no way you could kind of place it with anything you could think of, because none of that shit's out here, because this is a town that doesn't have anything.
Yeah, it
has a bar and a post office.
Yeah, which the post office apparently is the most happening place on the planet, at least when we're trying to shoot exterior dialogue scenes. It was very hard for me to keep my cool, which, that was Mikey's first example of how I am under pressure, which is not great, by the way.
It's okay.
We pull up to this...
It's not bad.
That's where the old man in me comes out, because I'm like...
You didn't go full freaking on anybody, so I think you're fine.
And we set the sound up, and we set the camera up, and like Evil said earlier, it's only a handful of lines of dialogue. It's a very short opening sequence that requires a wide, couple of mids. It's simple. It should have taken 10 minutes. but no kidding, and we're not exaggerating, every single time that we would call action and we would get 2 or 3 words out of our mouth, here comes a motorcycle. And then they get to the end of the block and they turn around and by us, you know, and or here comes a Jeep, or here comes 47 old people to go to the post office. Like, it was testing my patience, and we stayed outside. I think we tried for about an hour and 10 minutes before we're like, all right, fuck this, we're moving on.
Yeah, I think some of those folks were just like, just go over to the post office and pretend you're mailing something. Just see what the fuck they're doing over there. They making one of them naked movies. I think it's a naked movie. I saw a couple ladies out front. They're probably making one of them naked movies. Just go pretend you're picking a package up. I don't know. Just
that, and I'm telling you, I wish we had a clicker for the amount of people who came to the post office, because after a while, it got, like, at first it was funny. You know what I mean? Like, the first, 10 minutes of us trying to shoot, it was hilarious. And then as the hour wore on, and like you said earlier, 95 degrees, and apparently when we picked all of our wardrobe for the movie, we're all like, how about, stocking hats?
The stocking hats...
that's kind of how we dress in real life.
The stocking hats don't bother me at all. I'm fine standing outside in 95-degree heat in a stocking cap. I do that all the time anyway. It doesn't bother me. But being a redhead, I can't really stand in direct sunlight for a long period of time before I vampire-style burst into flames. So I was like, we're outside the car, and I was like, I'm just going to sit in the car. I know it's hotter in the car, but I'm not going to get burnt while I'm sitting in the car. So when you guys are ready to shoot, when the cars are done going by, I will get out of the car. But until then, I'm going to sit back in here because I can feel the back of my neck starting to turn a color. I can smell it.
I'll be in my trailer.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that,
we didn't have that.
Originally, we were in talks, and we were going to have 2 camper trailers with water, with electricity, with air conditioning, so that people could get awake. Yeah, because it's important for people to have space. That is important. And that's one of the things that I was like, yes. Well, no shit, the day before shooting, both people who had agreed to let us use their camper trailers were like, I don't think so. So
we don't trust you.
just very, very casually, probably not. And so that just 86'd that idea of being able to, one, we were going to use for the special features for cast and crew interviews, and then the other is just a place to get away. You could eat in there, air condition, away from people, whatever. And those both fell through. And it was one of those things where I was like, well, at least we got the green room still. But again, there was no air condition in the green room.
But it was my idea, I'm going to bring a couple of these box fans from the house out there, so at least can get some circulating air going on in that green room while I'm just destroying this plate of cupcakes that are in there.
Yeah, and then I think towards...
I was just like, that was my side quest during the shoot, was like, there's a plate of cupcakes in there. I was like, I'm going to eat every one of them motherfuckers. And I did.
Yes. And then the last 2 days of shooting, because, again, I'm very new to this, so I'm not used to people having to wait. And so there was a lot of people who, if the scene only calls for evil, so, then you have sound guy, you have the camera, and you have evil. So everybody else, you gotta fuck off. Get out of here. We're shooting this, we don't need you. So the last 2 days, I brought a TV and a Blu-ray player and a stack of movies, because I'm like, in the green room it was so soundproof that if you were in the green room laughing and having a good time, it wouldn't pick up on the microphone or anything. So I did that for the last 2 days of just bringing movies for people,
which was weird, because that was super weird, because we couldn't hear anything from the green room out on the floor, but we could inside the green room if there was there was one particular day and time where we're all separately, like you, me, and Mikey were all separately going out and filming us, and we had to scream. So so there was a period of time while we're hanging out in the green room, and we just all of it, like, it's time to just hear. And I think even Dylan at one point was like, "How do we know if they're acting? Like, what if somebody actually got hurt out there, and we're just in here hanging out, laughing, bullshitting, and there's someone else dying out in that room out there because we don't know any better."
If it was real, I'd come crawling into the room, bleeding profusely.
It's real. It's all real.
But yeah, that building, if the green room had air conditioning, would have been the most perfect building on the planet. And also if it had a router would have probably been nice, but
like, there are always things we could have done to make it better. Like, yeah, if it had high speed internet, cool oscillating fans with a low AC, a working restaurant or something next by it, a hot plate, something. But I mean, still, it worked what we needed. It provided enough fucking goofy stories to tell after the fact when we're all done with it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it fit for us.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, which I actually talked to Patrick about this, because I have no frame of reference. I mean, I've worked on films before, but I'm a low man on a totem pole type of deal. Like, move this C-stand. Or I'm a random extra, so just walk by when we need you to walk by type of shit. So I'm never really paying attention to the shot list and how much gets done in a day. And like big Hollywood productions that have like a 4 to 6 month period of shooting, they're shooting like 8 scenes and setups a day. Indie films, like Patrick said, they sometimes get up to upwards of 40 scenes or setups and scenes a day. And we were averaging, I think I told you, we were averaging like 38 or 42, somewhere around there, setups and scenes a day. And that is a breakneck pace, especially
that's
for
indie
us.
Pace,
not
though,
really.
Man.
Do what?
That's indie pace, though, man. That's
Yeah.
That's the difference between big budget and indie. Because that's the first, when you say that, the first thing I think of is that Kevin Smith story when he's making his movies, he's literally shit like what you're talking about. And then he goes on set to film for Die Hard 4, and they literally are just hanging out for an entire day, and they get nothing shot and nothing done. Literally, absolutely nothing. And Kev's like, "What does this cost for a day?" He's like, "I think it was like $22,000 or $220,000 a day." And I was like, "And we got absolutely nothing done. Welcome to Die Hard 4."
Wow. Well, I mean, it is Die Hard 4, so it doesn't really exist.
That's where that shit goes, though. It's like they literally wasted a whole day. They're just hanging out, bullshitting. And they're like, "Yeah, we got absolutely nothing done today. Not
That's
a thing."
bonkers. And I want to reiterate again the cost of our film for anybody new who's jumping in, because we did bring it up in our first TapeHead podcast. But my end-all be-all goal for making this film was to do it somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000, and we did not exceed $5,000. I've went over my notes. I've looked at receipts, everything that and that includes speeding tickets, and that includes that includes all the little stuff that we didn't expect. We didn't exceed it, and
that's the counterbalance to all the favors that you were able to pull. Like, we were able to get a location without having to pay for a location. All the talent pretty much just worked just for the love of the game. It's not like anyone was like, "I'll do it, but you're going to pay me X amount, and I want $200 per diem a day to do this job."
Yeah.
So all the favors and shit, all the cost cutting measures you were able to take, we were still able. You have the counterbalance to that is all the unexpected shit that may pop up. Like, well, we don't have this restaurant. Well, we gotta have someone drive to the next town to get 40 cheeseburgers from the Burger King because we have nothing in town to eat, and everyone's tired of donuts and cookies and cake.
Yep. So we managed to get it done. And I mean, granted, there's still a few scenes left to shoot, but they're at no additional cost because all of the things have already been purchased. So I don't have to worry about buying new props or anything of that nature. But and this whole thing was basically just an exercise in what can be done with next to nothing. We never claimed to be professionals. We never claimed to know what we're doing necessarily, but we brought together 11.
We learn by doing.
Yep, and we brought together 11 people who, just like Evil said, did it for the love of the game, and they're all eager to jump back into the pool and let's try it again. But next time we do it, we're doing it somewhere with some serious fucking air conditioning, I'll tell you that.
It's all the, like, and then as a learn by doing mentality we're going to have is like, okay, what went wrong on the last shoot? We're going to make sure that doesn't happen this time, and then we'll see what happens that goes wrong this go around when we're trying something new. Because we already have 2 potential projects that at least I'm going to be like pestering me, like, I want to do this. Because we had, of course, a Dude's Night In, which was birthed through the Deep Cut podcast, but we already, like, for the fuck of it, wrote in our heads and slightly on paper the idea for another short film we could do while we were hanging out in the green room on the shoot for this. And part of that came out of, you're like, yeah, we'll use this type of method because then we can shoot indoors and in climate control environments.
Yeah.
And then we had What's Up Pam there doing, and we had What's Up Pam there doing research on the building that we're shooting in because she's doing all the BTS filming that's going on. And she just comes up with all these fucking gnarly names through her research, and I'm just pulling these names up and like, these are all horror movie killer names.
They're all glorious.
Yes, I was like, we got to write all these down. We have to use these for the next production when we do this. So we already have 2 potential things set up, so it's just going to get more refined the further we go, including, I'm sure, how the YouTube show and everything goes as well, because I don't know how we're not going to incorporate using the 4 days of experience we've learned on that and utilizing things how we do on a live stream format, which, as of recording this, we're getting ready to make our return after a 3-week break from live streams. Oh man, are we coming back so big, heavy, and hard.
Yes, I'm ready.
More bells, more whistles, and more insanity getting ready to debut. As of this recording at this moment in time. Once you hear this, it'll be long past. We've already have hit you with what we're doing.
A couple weeks anyway, yeah. But
yeah.
So if you missed us, we're back already. But that was very important, you know, and the audience was very receptive of that. Us being like, you know, we're gonna need a couple weeks off. Like, we had to prep for shooting, then we had to shoot, and then I needed a week to recover. To be honest, and I still, like I told you yesterday, because
you're still not quite there.
I just can't. I can't rest. I dream about shots we didn't get that I need for pickup shots, or so your work is never truly done until you're holding a disc in your hand, you know.
Yeah, I don't drop character till I do the DVD commentary.
Huh? So get some crawfish.
Sidebar. Yeah, sidebar to all of that though. Yeah, you was able to come back out and hang at my personal residence for a day, and of course we had to get a couple of shots out in the hot sun with no cloud coverage. But the fun part about all that is afterwards we of course had to go look for some new cinema in town, and we actually got to this was super weird for me, have our 6 Degree of Separation meetup with another Slash and Cast podcast associate, Bri from the Dead in Santa Carla podcast. Apparently is a local.
Yep, so
we got to meet up with him.
Orchestrated a meetup, which is also hilarious because he's like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pick you guys out of the crowd. And then as soon as he saw us, he was like, oh, that's got to be you.
Oh, that's definitely the 2 guys I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then
head to toe covered in tattoos and big beards.
Yeah. And then when you told me about that, I was like, oh, yeah, that's one of the podcasts I listened to. I really dug their style, their format. They're pretty rad. I was like, let's meet this dude. And then we went to go get some pizza and just kind of bullshit and talk. And that's when, of course, he immediately won me over. He's like, "Pizza's on me, guys." I was like, "This is a good dude. Brian's a good dude right here."
Damn right. Anybody who offers to feed us, especially after just meeting us,
Yeah, you have no idea what you're in for.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't just run for the hills like, oh shit. These
I didn't bring
dudes.
that much money.
Well, I think we're already a bad influence because he wasn't planning on buying a movie, and then we're like, we're gonna buy some movies, and then he left with Return of the Living Dead Part 2. So
Yeah, after he was looking for
on him.
He was looking for Part 1, but he ended up getting Part 2. I, of course, walked out of there with the most unique triple feature I could acquire. I think even Brian was like, "That's an odd setup. I like your style." I picked up, all on Blu-ray, Two Mules for Sister Sarah, a Clint Eastwood spaghetti western. Raj was able to find The Miracle of Miracles. He found Pootie Tang on Blu-ray, which I don't know.
You lit up like a motherfucking Christmas tree for Pootie Tang on Blu-ray.
Because it's an out-of-print DVD, and I refuse to pay $40 for a used DVD of Pootie Tang. I will not.
I also love that we examine the Blu-ray and there's like no clear marking of who distributed it.
We don't know. The Blu-ray fairies came by and dropped this off just because they know I long have waited to get me a personal copy of Pootie Tang on disc.
There was only one copy too, so it definitely.
Yeah, somebody, I don't know who or where put this out, but thank you. And then we have, in the vein of what we were doing, we're making our own movie. Another local to the area that got her own short made, and then a full-fledged movie made. I picked up The Stylist, which Jill Six made and put out. I haven't got to watch that movie yet, but we did crack it open and look at bonus features and trailers and stuff, and all very cool. What's Up Fam is super interested to scope that out in its entirety. So should be fun.
Jill has been part of our circle for a very long time with the convention, and she runs Slaughter Movie House with our good buddy Gary, and she has strong ties to the Screenland Armor, and she's an advocate for independent horror cinema, and she put out The Stylist as a short film. God, it seems like 4
It seems
years
like
ago?
It seems like she's been talking about The Stylist the entire time we've known her.
Yeah,
Like, it feels like The Stylist has been in the conversations forever.
Yeah, and so fucking it's like the coolest feather in Evil's local areas, a cap, because it's like she finally did it. She got together with her film family, her crew, and she made her movie. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see and hear about. And I mean, Arrow put her movie out on Blu-ray, which
crazy.
is like geek heaven. And
Even crazier is we watched one of the features is there's a scouting locations bonus feature on there, and we're looking for fucking places in this bonus feature of like what can we identify, and of course we could identify some local areas, and then our buddy Greg, that's half of the Nightmare Junkhead Nerds of Nostalgia podcast. We know what his house looks like. We know what his porch looks like. I'm like, that's fucking Greg's porch. They're shooting on Greg's porch. Greg's porch is in a movie that's on Arrow Blu-ray that I paid for.
It's a weird thing, dude. And then, not to swerve too hard, but Dylan, who again plays our villain in our movie, he was telling me how he took his son to a birthday party the other day, and all of his son's friends made him get out of the car so they could meet him and feel his arms and stuff, because he's the killer in our movie. And he was like, dude, people are kind of hyped on this, and it's weird.
I'm waiting for the Jason Takes Manhattan moment for him, where we're filming a sequel or something, and he's like, I'm just gonna stay in this because I want to break character. I want to break the kayfabe for those watching.
Yeah, he'll get it, dude, because we are doing TapeHead 2. I'll die on that hill. We're making that movie, but it's so surreal to think that we pulled $5,000 out of fucking thin air. It took fucking a year to get the $5,000, and we all got together and we made this stupid little movie, and people are like ready to see it, and I'm like, I don't know how to feel.
No pressure to get it edited and put together, huh?
Yeah, like I don't know how to feel, because I'm like, as you guys watch our YouTube, you know how this is gonna go down. So I'm so humbled, and I don't know, dude. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but fucking it's awesome.
So TapeHead 2, there has to be some wording underneath TapeHead 2 about returning tapes, the return of TapeHead. There has to be some kind of wordplay on there we can utilize. What do you think off the top of your head? TapeHead 2, blah blah, return, blah blah blah. What you got? Returns are even deadlier if you mean it.
I don't know. That's gonna have to be one of those things we let the Patreons and podcast everybody vote on.
Because we have TapeHead 1, late fees are killer, so I'm like, returns are even worse.
Oh man, yeah. So we'll have to brainstorm some fucking puns for our subtitle, but I can't believe that like 95% of our movie is in the can.
And I've gotten to see some of your editing of it together, and that's even crazier to think. So it's happening, and I can't even imagine what it'll be like when it's done, it's in a disc, and then when we take it somewhere to get premiered. That's
right
gonna
on my
be
front porch.
No, I'm gonna take it to the local Screenland, even if we got to rent out the theater to do it. But it's gonna be a screening at Screenland, just like Jill and them all did. It's gonna be local around here. I'm gonna bring all of our shit and set it all up out front. But here it is. Have fun, because it's gonna be fun.
Meet the stars of TapeHead, which is so
we'll have that in
weird.
parentheses.
Yeah. Meet the Tommy Wiseau's of TapeHead. I don't even know. Because
I made that comment when we were making it, because we have Dylan, who is ripped as shit, and then we're gonna have somebody else in the movie that's also very chiseled and ripped. And I'm like, we have these guys in almost B-rolls where we're covering them up a great deal, and then we got us late 30s dudes, with dad's bods, and we're the stars. That should be reversed. We should be playing these B-rolls, and all the hunky boys should be in the spotlight. We just flipped that shit on everybody.
We did, and we're the stars. Damn it, we're the ones with the big dicks, and we say when we're shooting.
We don't want no hunky boys.
On that note, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. You got anything to send them out on, Evil? The Hunky Boys was pretty good.
Hunky Boys is pretty good. It was what are we going to do when we come back? Well, that pretty much should wrap us talking TapeHead stuff. We're going to do what I'm sure some folks are waiting for. I'm sure some folks have just skipped over all of these and just get back to talking about motherfucking movies. So we're done with all this stuff, at least for the time being. So when we come back in 2 weeks, we'll get back to talking about someone else's cinema, not just our own.
Yes.
We'll quit sucking our own dicks and talk about someone else's movies. Like God intended.